Hey guys, so I get asked all the time about homeschooling. Why I homeschool, how I homeschool, where I homeschool, when I homeschool. And so I thought I would answer your burning questions about homeschool today. So I'm going to call today's vlog Homeschooling Part 1, the backstory, how I became a weird homeschooler. Before we talk about why I homeschool, I need to be honest with you. I love talking about homeschooling, and I also hate talking about homeschooling. I'll tell you what I love about it. I love talking about homeschooling because I am passionate about it. I am passionate about education. I'm passionate about my family. I'm passionate about childhood and the way we spend our time. The thing I hate about it is the feeling that in telling somebody about my journey or what works for me or how we do it in any way makes somebody feel like that's the way they should do it. Or even worse, that I think they don't care as much about their kids or that public school is evil. So I want to make it really clear that my experience and my journey and what works for my family and how we live our lives in no way diminishes your choices. You can love public school, you can love homeschooling, you can love private school, you can love any myriad of ways to educate your child and have them all be successful. I think the number one thing I've learned with homeschooling is it is not one size fits all. None of us are one size fits all. Families aren't one size fits all. I think one of the greatest gifts we have as parents is our intuition. And I have learned to really trust my mother's intuition that I know what's best for my family. I know what works for my family. And I would never assume that what works for my family works for yours. So now that we've got that out of the way, I'm going to tell you my story. And I'm not going to worry that you're feeling bad about it. And you're not going to worry that I'm judging it, right? Super. So, how did I get here? Well, when my oldest son was getting ready to go to kindergarten, I felt like it was a really huge jump from preschool, which was like a couple days a week to like go hang out with your friends and paint some stuff, to all day, everyday kindergarten. It was a really big jump, and I had a hard time with that. He left at like 8:30 in the morning and came home at 3:45 in the afternoon, really tired. Basically had time for homework, soccer, dinner, bed. And I felt like I had just sort of handed my child over for someone else to raise, and I did not like that feeling. But I loved his teacher, and I loved his school, and so we went forward with that. As he went into first grade, I started seriously considering homeschooling, and I resisted that. Oh my gosh, I never thought I would homeschool. In fact, one of my best friends homeschools her 8 kids, and when I first met her, I think she only had 4 or 5 of them, and I openly mocked her. I just said, "You are a crazy person. I don't understand why you're doing any of the things you're doing." And she's still my friend. Can you even believe that? Thanks, Katie. I love you. I just never thought I would end up here. But as I started doing some research and started really considering it, I thought maybe I can do this. And the real clincher for me was when it came time to register my twins for kindergarten. And I had the paperwork in my hand, and I couldn't even physically hand it over. It made me sick to think about registering them and having the 3 of them gone all day, every day. I just thought, this is not a normal reaction. What's happening in me? I started giving it a lot of thought. Seth and I talked about it all the time. I made pros and cons lists. We prayed about it. And we finally came to the conclusion that there was no way to know if this worked for our family, if we would be successful at it, if it was something we wanted to do, unless we did it. And so once we made the commitment to just do it for a year and see what happened, oh my gosh, I felt a million times better. It was like a load was instantly lifted off of me. So I spent that summer researching and planning how we would do it. So the thing about deciding to homeschool is once you've decided to homeschool, that's like a tiny part of it. There are so many different methodologies and curriculum and ideas about it. So it can be as customized as you want it to be. And I think the fun of it is learning how your kids learn best and what really motivates them and what drives them. And it's been really fun for me to discover that about my kids and sort of play to each of their strengths and help them overcome their weaknesses and see them really excel in all areas. And I think that's one of the great joys of it. I'd like to dispel a couple of long-held myths about homeschoolers. First of all, we're not all weirdos. Like, we've all known that one family or that one kid who was a total weirdo and socially awkward. For whatever reason, that has become this stereotype of homeschoolers. Now, truth be told, the weird homeschooler kid you knew probably would have been a weird kid in school too. Okay? That's not really a fair assessment. Another stereotype is that all homeschoolers do it out of fear. I have found personally that the homeschoolers who seem the most at ease, the most successful, are ones that do it out of love and because they feel like that's what's best for their family, not because they do it out of fear of the evils of public school, fanatical reasons, fear of bullies, or fear of anything. I mean, I have found in my life personally that the choices I have made out of fear have not really been my favorite choices. And the ones I've done out of love felt like led me down a good path. So homeschoolers are not generally homeschooling because they're afraid of the world. They're doing it because they want to create a different kind of life for their family. So when people bring up socialization, what about socialization? I try really hard not to do this. That's like such a tired argument. First of all, if you've met my children, you would not ask about socialization. Kids can't stop talking to anyone. We were at Chick-fil-A one day for lunch, and my son asked if he could go and get a refill, and I said, yeah, just take it up to the front and they'll fill it up for you. Went up and handed his cup to the guy at the counter, and he stood there and just, I could see them talking and talking and talking, and I'm thinking, it does not take that long to fill a soda. And when he finally came back, I said, so what would you talk about? He said, I just said, how about this weather? I wish it would stay like this all the time. And he just like chatted up the guy at Chick-fil-A. My kids are not shy. And you know what? Most homeschooling kids, they learn to interact with people of all walks of life, of all ages. I have to say, homeschoolers are often far more socialized than kids in school. Because in school, you're told constantly to stop socializing. In fact, kids at school socialize in spite of school, not because of it. They also learn to just socialize with one age group, their grade, their age, and that's, who most of their interaction is with. And with homeschooling, you get to interact with people of all ages a lot more than you would otherwise. So can we all just agree to not worry about socialization anymore? Because I promise, my kids don't live under a rock. They know how to have a conversation with human beings. So we've covered why I homeschool. We've covered some of the stereotypes of homeschooling. And we've talked just a little bit about what homeschooling can really look like, which is anything you want it to. And next time, I'm going to show you a day in the life of the Mallicats at home and talk you through some of the hows I do homeschooling. So hopefully this has helped shed some light on the secret underbelly of homeschooling. Thanks for watching, and I hope you go create some happiness.